Hello my friend and welcome to my channel. In today's video I would like to talk about habits and specifically about how by creating them they can impact our life either on a positive or a negative way based on which habit you cultivate actually right now. So if you don't want to watch this entire video, I would suggest and say that one of the most important points around any habits in your life is that systems actually matter more than your goals. So your environment that you're constructing around you, this is one of the most important part and aspect that influence your behavior, your habit, and so on and so forth. So in order to change habit, you should definitely change your environment. And it will definitely change your mindset and so on and so forth. Speaking from my experience, I've changed a lot of habits. I was a total mess. I didn't sleep enough. I didn't eat right. I didn't exercise and so on and so forth. But now I'm pretty much, I would consider myself as an organized person, and this is why actually anyone can switch from this messiness to this organized kind of way. I don't think that it is appropriate for everybody, but if you're messy and you are interested in changing and organizing your life, this video might be useful for you. Out of interest, I recently read a book, Atomic Habits, and I found out that I've implemented almost every strategy in this book kind of unconsciously. So I read this book after I have established my daily routine and my current habits. But anyway, why is there a lot of fuzziness about habits? Why are they so important actually? What if you can improve yourself by 1% every actual day? So 1.01 to the power of 365 is equal around 37. So 37 times better within a week. So you can become actually better than you were before by 37 times within a year. For me, actually, it's huge, and I think that almost everybody can improve themselves by 1% a day. You can run a little bit faster, you can run a little bit longer for 1 minute or 2, doesn't matter. Instead of meditating 5 minutes, you can meditate 5.5 minutes, and so on and so forth. So improving yourself by 1% a day, it's actually not that hard, but it's extremely tricky. And I think this is why your daily habits are extremely important, because they affect your life actually in the long run. You cannot see the difference right now or even tomorrow or even in a week and so on and so forth, but in a year you will see a lot of progress. And so it really doesn't matter whether you meditate today 5 minutes or not, but if you do it every day in a year, it will be a huge progress. So now let's talk about structured habits, how to build good habits and destroy bad ones, unwholesome, unproductive ones. So according to the author of this book, there are 4 kind of stages of any habit: cue, craving, response, and reward. Cue is all about a trigger, so you can be triggered to go for a run by placing your sneakers near your bed, and when you wake up you will see your sneakers and it may definitely trigger you to go for a run. The same thing with bad habits. If you place sweet or sugar around your house and you would like to not to use sugary products, it might trigger you to use this sugar. So when it comes to good habits, you should make them obvious. As a previous example, you can place your sneakers near your bed, but when it comes to bad habits, you should avoid them. You should make them kind of invisible. So the next stage is craving, and unsurprisingly, craving is when you are wanting to do something, not actually doing, but just want. And a key point here, if it's a bad habit, you want to make it habit unattractive. So for example, if you're a drug abuser and you would like to get rid of this habit, you may, for example, see on the internet cases of brain impairment by using these drugs. It might scare you and motivate you to get rid of it, but many people might be conscious because of it, and if you're in this category, I wouldn't suggest doing so, but create some statements and ideas around this habit that might help you to unlike this habit. And for example, if you would like to create a new habit, you want to make this habit actually attractive. So if you don't actually like to run, on the internet there are a lot of articles on how running improves your intellectual capabilities, mental capabilities, and this might motivate you to start running. So make it attractive or ugly. So the next stage is response, and it is responsible for taking action, actual action. And again, let's look at it in terms of bad and good habits. When it comes to good habits, you would like to make it easy to do, and when it comes to bad habits, you would like it too hard to do. And for example, you would like to start meditating, and undoubtedly meditating for an hour a day might be an extremely ambitious goal, and I think it's even unproductive, but instead you can imply another strategy, and you can start with a minute, with a 2, with a 5, so whatever short period of time you will choose, and it make this habit easy to do. So everyone can meditate for 1 minute, for example. But when it comes to bad habits, you like to make them hard to do. As simple as that. So, and the last stage is reward. For example, when you eat something unhealthy, you owe your friend $100, for example. And of course, the amount of money should be painful enough for you in order to not doing this kind of behavior again and again. When it comes to rewarding yourself for doing some habits, I wouldn't say that you should do it every time. There are a lot of data that dopamine release is kind of degrading. If you give the same reward every time, it will actually decrease in rewarding, and someday it won't satisfy your kind of inner needs. So I would experiment with that, but the rule of thumb that at least occasionally you should reward yourself. So you should explore this topic yourself, but from my experience, I don't reward myself as much. So we've talked about how to build habits, what is the structure of habit, but now I would like to talk about habits that you will already implement it in your life. So you're meditating, for example, for an hour, or you are reading a book for 2 hours a day, whatever you want. What are the main pitfalls might occur here? So from my understanding, there are at least 3: boredom, autopilot, and absence kind of freedom, and I'll explain it a little bit. So when it comes to boredom, most of the people kind of give up on this feeling and think that they are not interested in this topic, but I would say that my friends, any of my colleagues, kind of people who are rich, who are above the average, I would say, they are constantly experiencing boredom, and it's not bad. I know that there are a lot of people who are talking always about passionate, and you feel strange when you're not passionate about what you're doing, and you start thinking that this activity is not kind of yours. It's okay to feel boredom, and the best way to cope with it is to embrace it. So what I personally do, I'm a meditator, and I personally start paying attention to physical sensation and my mental state. So I'm trying to kind of embrace this feeling. I'm trying to understand this feeling and investigate it as much as I can. And so the next time I encounter it, I don't much bother it actually by it. So the next thing is autopilot. I haven't actually encountered this issue, but I've heard some stories about it. So if you are a master at something, there might be temptation to slide into autopilot, and you kind of stop improving because you think that you're master, and at the same time you consistently doing it, actually you're not improving. It has become so automatic to you that you are not paying attention to new details, you're not paying attention to you've lost your curiosity kinda. And I think that how I would cope with it is to start paying attention to the even smaller details. So in order to investigate this field more in a more deep level, whether it's programming or guitar or writing, whatever you want. I would suggest trying to go deeper. The last thing is absence of freedom. I had a conversation with my friends about alcohol and smoking, and I was drinking and smoking a lot, but now I'm not. We were talking about this process, and he said that I don't want to limit myself. I want to be freedom. I want sometimes to use these drugs in order to satisfy myself. I was suspicious about word freedom. If we look deeper at this problem, we'll see that what is the freedom here? I actually don't think that freedom is when you're acting on every thought in your mind. I think that freedom is when you can ignore it and go along with your long-term values. But again, it's just my opinion. I'm not against drinkers and smokers, but it's just a thing to consider probably. So we've talked about habit structure. We've talked about how to continuously improve it and not to get into traps of boredom, freedom, absence of freedom, and autopilot. And now I would like to share with you my habits. It might be useful for some people. Probably one of the most important habit I have implemented in my life is I schedule almost everything. Even more important, I schedule my sleep. So for some reasons, I've slept around 6 hours today, and I see how my cognitive functions decrease. I see these kind of dark thoughts. I see that I'm not pleased enough. I'm not comfortable enough. I'm a little bit fidgety, and so on and so forth. And my performance is extremely better when I've slept around 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours. I think that it improves my life tremendously. The next extremely cool habit is meditation. I like to say that I'm into kind of Zen. I know that Zen kind of against these notions. They are more about experience and so on and so forth. But I like this idea. I know that it sounds contradictionally, but I extremely like this idea. And meditation, simple meditation, concentrating on your breathing, and when you're lost in your thoughts, you come back to your breathing again. So that's simple meditation every day for an hour, at least an hour, and it improves my focus and improves my relationship. You might ask how on earth you can become more compassionate, kind to people when you're just focusing on your breath. And recently I stumbled upon one thought about that actually when you're meditating, you don't focus on your inner thoughts, you focus on your breathing. It's kind of external thing, and by practicing it, you are doing the same things in a daily life. You'll less focus on your kind of inner state and more focused on outside world, on people and on their problems rather than yours. So meditating makes me more open to the experience, makes me more kind, and when it comes to work, it makes me more focused, which is incredible. So the next habit is exercising. There is nothing to say. I think that it's obvious. You can read a lot of articles on how exercising might improve your mood, might improve your cognitive skills, and so on and so forth. So exercising, I usually run for 20 to 25 minutes every morning after I meditate and do some push-ups and pull-ups. That's kind of small 35. I can't even say that it's a workout session, it's just exercising. So the next, which is interconnected with scheduling my day, is deep work. I like this concept by Cal Newport, and also Lex Fridman is talking about it frequently. And I like this notion. So when it comes to performing a task, I try to immerse myself as much as I can. I don't even drink a tea or coffee when I'm working. I'm trying to immerse myself in a task for around 2 to 3 hours. It's my usual focus session block. So if I have a work or I have to write and prepare myself to the next YouTube video, I would definitely allocate this 2 to 3 hours block and try to be fully immersed in it. And I would like to mention that I don't usually use to-do lists. I really like to put everything straight away in my calendar and allocate time for doing it. And the last habit that are extremely changing my life might be a little bit controversial. It's not for everyone. Definitely it's not for everyone. It's fasting. I usually eat one meal a day, and it definitely increases my focus. There are no much thoughts about food. It saves a lot of time in terms of eating, so I need to prepare one big meal and that's it. I shouldn't wash my dishes, I shouldn't think about what will I eat and so on and so forth. So it might seem strange, but it works perfectly for me. So these 5 habits are essential to me, and I'm not gonna say that they are important and that everyone should implement them in their life. On the contrary, I would say that I think that everyone should experiment with their habits and always exploring them. I tend to believe that we're all kind of habits. Change our identity to me means that you should change your habits. Maybe I overestimate habits, but I think they are extremely important based on my experience. So that's it. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for your attention, and I hope you have a great day today.